Good afternoon. My name is Matthew Morgan and I'm Council's Chief Executive Officer. I extend a warm welcome to the gallery here in the Dancox Room at the Nathalia Community Centre and those joining us via live stream for this afternoon's scheduled meeting of Council. Consistent with section 13.3 of our governance rules, Council officers have been authorised to record the public session of this meeting using appropriate recording devices. I now turn to the Chair for the prayer.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. Could I please ask people to rise whilst I read the prayer and acknowledgement of traditional owners? Almighty God, we humbly ask you to guide our deliberations for the welfare and benefit of the Moira Shire and its people whom we serve. Moira Shire Council acknowledges the Yorta Yorta Nation as the traditional owners of this land. We recognise the deep spiritual connection to land, waterways and community of the 8 clan groups of the Yorta Yorta Nation. We pay our respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. Please be seated. So welcome to today's Moira Shire Council scheduled council meeting being held in the Dancox Room here in Nathalia. We do extend a welcome to those who have joined us in the gallery and particularly to those who are joining us via the live streaming facility. Do we have any apologies or leave of absence for tonight's meeting?
No,
If not, we'll take it there are no requests for leave of absence. Are there any matters of conflicts of interest to be declared? If not, we'll take it there are no conflicts of interest declarations. Before we start the business of the meeting, I would like to welcome Ingrid Bishop. Ingrid is our Interim Director of Corporate and will be joining us for 2 or 3 months, and a very warm welcome to you, Ingrid. Item 6 on tonight's agenda is the confirmation of minutes of the previous meeting of Council. Do we have a motion for this item?
Yes, Chair. I'd like to move that the minutes of the scheduled council meeting held on Wednesday, the 23rd of July, 2025, as presented, be adopted.
And I'm happy to second that motion. All in favour? The motion is carried. We'll move to item 7 on tonight's agenda, and that is the addresses by administrators. Moira was very proud to host 2 very significant visits to the Shire over the past few weeks. The first of these saw us welcome to Yarrawonga more than 100 delegates representing rural councils from across Victoria as part of Moira's hosting of the Rural Councils Victoria annual conference. The conference was an excellent opportunity to showcase the Moira Shire and the wonderful attributes we enjoy as part of our communities. The second visit to be hosted by Council was a visit by Her Excellency, the Governor of Victoria, on the 13th and 14th of August. Again, we had the opportunity to showcase to the Governor everything from the Danya Centre in Barmer to the Numurkah Historical Society and including Numurkah's 150th proclamation anniversary, to Flavour Right's extensive protected tomato cropping operation in Kattunga, and Strathmerton's cactus country as a major tourist destination. The Governor also visited Saputo's cheese production facility in Cobram. The final event included a special morning tea event with the Governor welcoming many community volunteers from across the Shire to celebrate the efforts and contributions of our many volunteers. Also, over the past month, I have had the pleasure of representing Moira at a meeting of the MAV's Goulburn Ovens region and the Hume Region Local Government Network. Both these forums are an opportunity for stronger collaboration across councils within our region. The participating councils share many issues in common, and both these forums were opportunities to advance issues of mutual concern and benefit. As part of Council's endeavours to ensure strong relationships with our local members of Parliament, we were very pleased to meet with the member for Ovens Valley, Tim McCurdy, on the 5th of August. This regular meeting was again an opportunity to discuss a range of matters of mutual interest to Mr McCurdy's electorate and, of course, to Council. Administrator Benediker and I had the pleasure of meeting with Des Quinn, who is President, and Jan Parker, who was Secretary of the Yarrawonga Cemetery Trust on the 12th of August. This on-site meeting was an excellent opportunity to witness firsthand the great work of the Cemetery Trust in maintaining and developing the cemetery on behalf of our community. We also had the opportunity to discuss a number of works required at the cemetery to ensure the existing assets are protected and enhanced for the future. Lastly, Administrator Benediker and our CEO, Matthew Morgan, had the opportunity to meet with the Minister for Local Government, the Honourable Nick Stakos, last Thursday, the 12th of August. This meeting allowed us to brief the Minister on the progress being made to strengthen governance and community engagement, to set a clear long-term strategic direction for the Council and to ensure the Council's financial sustainability. The meeting also provided an opportunity for us to present our biannual report to the Minister, and recognising that the report is also included in the agenda for tonight's meeting. We were also able to advise the Minister that all recommendations of the Commission of Inquiry report have been finalised, and that the initiatives set out in the Minister's Statement of Expectations are either completed or substantially progressed. I'll now turn to Administrator Benediker for her Administrator's address.
Thank you, Chair Administrator. We were both pleased to represent Council at several opening celebrations and community. I'll try again. Thank you, Chair Administrator. We were both very pleased to represent Council at several openings, celebrations and community events this month. The opening of Yarrawonga Health's new operating theatre suite was a momentous event. This is a $10.9 million project funded by the Victorian Government, officially opened on August the 8th, 2025 by Bruce Pigden OAM, former Board Director and Life Governor for Yarrawonga Health. The upgraded facility aims to provide a safer, more efficient surgical environment, brings all surgical services under one roof, and is about improving access to care for the local community. The Community Heart fundraising continues to be astonishing, with over $700,000 raised of the $1 million target. Huge congratulations to Yarrawonga Health and to the Yarrawonga community. As part of Children's Book Week, I was so pleased to conduct a community reading at Irvine House in Cobram with two wonderfully well-behaved groups of 5 to 7-year-olds from Cobram Primary School. The residents sat round in a circle with the children sitting on the floor in the middle, absolutely enraptured by the storytelling. There was so much pleasure from the students and from the residents. I understand that Cobram Primary School are now looking to make this a much more regular event. The Cobram off-leash dog park was an initiative started by the community and supported by Moira Shire Council, with state government input of $62,081 through the local living program. The Cobram Lions Club, initiators of the project, also made a significant contribution towards the park's furniture and equipment. The launch was very active, with dogs waiting to be unleashed by their owners. It will be a well-loved community facility. I was also pleased to represent Council at the 21st birthday celebrations of the current location of the New Merker Library. Friends of the library and GV Library's team members celebrated this fabulous and well-used facility. Congratulations again. This is another example of community-backed services working with and for community. Cobram Lions Art Show is an annual event that encourages art that has competitive sections that promote the Lions International Peace Poster Competition, a Moira Shire tourism poster, photography and general artworks. It was my pleasure to give out the prizes on behalf of the very many community and business sponsors. Other significant meetings and events. The tour of Yarrawonga P12 facilities. Chair Administrator Emerson, our CEO and City Council staff met with the principal to talk through potential expansions, the consolidation of the senior facilities onto one site with primary school facilities, and the potential for all ages education precinct that's already seeing some traction with the building of a new Yarrawonga kindergarten with rooms for up to 66 children. Yarrawonga Mulwala Business and Tourism hosted a wonderful event for tourism, hospitality and all businesses, as well as key stakeholders, to launch their Future Direction presentation. The Future Direction is positioning Yarrawonga Mulwala as a premier destination that embraces tourism with economic development benefits for the community. The Future Directions includes 4 significant projects: brand identity, digital transformation, volunteer and ambassador program, and redevelopment of the Visitor Information Centre. Council's proud to provide support to YMBT, and even more pleased that the organisation is able to leverage business, community and government support for the future. A local safety forum was held here in Nathalia last week. These forums are really important to provide Victoria Police and Moira Shire Council with direct community feedback on what matters, current issues and ways to resolve those issues. We value our close partnership with VicPol and encourage all community members to attend whenever these forums are on, and these forums are held throughout the Shire. Chair Administrator Emerson and I meet monthly with the Youth Council. They now have a key role in providing feedback on council plans, strategies and policies and ensuring youth input. We've invited them to provide specific feedback on the Yarrawonga Multi-Sports Facility, and also have had a conversation with them about the development importance of council policies. We're also very pleased to hear of the progress that Youth Council is making towards Moira Youth Fest, which we held on September 21st, 2025. Finally, the Murray-Darling Association has been in place for some time to provide effective representation of local government and communities in the management of the Murray-Darling Basin. We were very pleased to host a meeting of the local government and community representatives for MDA Region 2 in Cobram in early August. Both the National Chair of the MDA and the National CEO were also present at that meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Administrator Benedika. Can we now move to item 8 on tonight's agenda, and that is reports by executive officers. The first of those is Mr. Matthew Morgan, CEO.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to start by announcing the appointment of Peter Canizzaro as the Director of Corporate Performance for Moira Shire, and Peter commences on the 29th of September 2025. And with that, also welcome Ingrid Bishop. We're very lucky to have Ingrid with us as Interim Corporate Director through until Peter's commencement at the end of September. Our engagement with key regional stakeholders and industry partners has continued over the last month. Several important visits and events that strengthen our understanding of local business operations and regional collaboration opportunities. Over the past month, we've visited several key businesses, including JBS in Cobram, TTI and Remax stores here in Nathalia, to understand operations, future planning and growth considerations. These visits form a part of our ongoing engagement with major local employers following the Bega Strathmerton closure announcement, allowing us to identify potential opportunities for collaboration and support that Council and the Victorian Government might be able to provide to facilitate business growth and job creation. We also signed the economic accord between ourselves, the City of Greater Shepparton and the Campaspe Shire Council, which is underpinned by a strong desire to work closely together for the betterment of our region's economy. Particularly now, the 3 CEOs will meet quarterly to determine ways to enliven the agreement, and we'll start by kicking off the discussion with a local manufacturers roundtable in late September, and we'll invite major businesses into that roundtable discussion as well. I want to particularly reflect on the 2 events you mentioned in your presentation, Chair, which is the RCV, the Rural Councils Victoria Conference, and the visit of the Governor, and particularly to thank our team who put an amazing amount of effort in behind the scenes to organise those events and help to ensure that the experience of both the Rural Councils Victoria and the Governor went off without a hitch. I would also like to acknowledge our Manager of Finance, Bo Mittner, and our Manager of Governance, Performance and Risk, Amanda Finn, who joined me earlier in the month for a discussion with the Parliamentary Inquiry into Fraud and Corruption in Local Government. This was a voluntary attendance by Council, a really good opportunity for us to provide feedback that will help strengthen the sector as a whole. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. Can I now please turn to our Interim Director of Corporate Performance, Ms. Ingrid Bishop?
Thank you, Chair. As mentioned, I'm the Interim Director Corporate Performance and I'll be with the Moira Shire Council until the end of September. I'd like to thank the Moira Shire staff and the administrators for the warm welcome, and I'm looking forward very much to working with Council and community over the coming weeks. The finance team have been diligently focused on completing the end of financial year statements for 2024-2025 financial year. This work is essential to ensure Council meets all statutory reporting obligations. Importantly, our financial statements are currently undergoing an independent audit by the Victorian Auditor General's Office. This audit reinforces transparency and accountability in how we manage public funds. The 2025-2026 annual valuation rates and charges notices have now been issued, which I'm sure community is waiting for with great anticipation. It's been issued to the Moira Shire ratepayers. These notices are a key communication tool and will include more than just rates information, as Council is taking this opportunity to update the community on our strategic priorities and our services. Additionally, we'll be sharing information about the Victorian Government's Emergency Services and Volunteers Fund. This ensures our ratepayers are informed not only about their financial obligations, but also about the broader initiatives and support that is available to the ratepayers in our region. We also have a dedicated number for residents to call on the notice should they need any assistance. The Customer Experience and Information Services teams have also been working diligently together to support the implementation of Snap Send Solve, a free application for your phone or device. It's available to all community members, enabling you to report issues to Council like potholes, graffiti, any tree management issues, anything that you feel Council needs to be aware of. You just snap a photo, send the details, it will automatically go through to Council for action. Also, the newly appointed Manager of People and Culture has just commenced. She's visiting various work sites across the Shire. This is a very important appointment, as the Manager of People and Culture will continue to support the organisation as it focuses on its workplace culture program. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms Bishop. Can I now turn to the Director of Infrastructure, Ms Rachel Gadd?
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to welcome the new Manager Property and Assets, Jade Thomas, who started with us this month. Jade has a background in local government property and building asset management through her work with Colac, Otway Shire and Wyndham City Council, and we're very happy to have her. In the project area, construction of the Numurkah Levee is progressing well, with new garden layouts underway near Melville Street. And roses from the previous gardens will be replanted there soon. Shoulder widening has been completed on Loofs Road, expanding the pavement and seal width to 6.2 metres over a 2-kilometre length. Pavement reconstruction is now complete at the Murphy and Piper Street roundabout in Yarrawonga. A connecting footpath will be added to the Cobram Dog Park to improve accessibility to the park entrance in October. The draft tree management policy is also open for feedback through the Moira Matters website. We have tenders currently advertised, including the detailed design of the Cobram Reserve Pavilion in Cobram Scott Reserve Pavilion, and project management services for the Thompsons Beach Precinct Plan in Cobram. And the road maintenance crews are currently focusing on pothole repairs and grading of unsealed roads, drainage inspections, footpath upgrades and signage improvements. And the outdoor teams are obviously getting ready for the upcoming season, with mowing, irrigation and garden maintenance becoming a priority. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms Gadd. Can I now call on the Director of Sustainable Development, Mr Brian Sword?
Thank you, Chair Administrator Emerson. I'd just like to update Council and the community on a successful application that was made to the Victorian Government, the Department of Jobs, Skills, Industries and Regions, to participate in a program called Business Friendly Councils Initiative. The program supports councils to make it easier for businesses to engage with local government, and the initiative is designed to simplify regulatory processes, improve service delivery and make councils more responsive to the unique needs of business. Outcomes from the program is participating councils will foster a more business-friendly culture by supporting businesses through approvals, strengthening the no wrong door concierge model, reducing back and forth information requests, enabling complete high-quality applications, streamlining application processing, and building staff capability. I will commence participation in the program in February 2026, and I'm looking forward to seeing the benefits that both council and our business community can gain from it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sword. And can I now invite the Director of Community, Mr. Scott Williams?
Thank you, Chair. I'm pleased to share that the Moira Shire Community Strengthening Grants are now open. So funding up to 10,000 available for community organisations over 7 streams with that program. And the purpose of those grants are to enhance community organisations' capacity to deliver services and events, to promote community wellbeing, but also to build community connections. So those applications are open till the 15th of September. Our festive funding grants are also open. Those grants are for event support, purchase of decorations and signage, up to $2,000 per town to spread the holiday spirit. For those grants, you can visit our website for more detail. Also got the Australia Day Award nominations open from September. So that's a great way to recognise our peers across the community who do so much in terms of volunteering and across many great community organisations. So the categories for that are Citizen, Junior and Young Citizen of the Year, Community Event, Organisation, and then also Arts, Culture and Environment Project of the Year. Our economic development team has been busy preparing for an exciting AI business forum that'll be held at the Siebel on September 3rd. And that's to help businesses explore artificial intelligence for enhancing productivity and growth. That forum will cover AI adoption strategies, tools, resources, and address ethical considerations with AI. It's a very interesting growth area for our industry, so it's an exciting one that we're very pleased to host. Lastly, we have a very active community engagement schedule. So if endorsed tonight, 12 key policies and plans will be coming out for community feedback. So there's lots of great opportunities for the community to have their say on some great outcomes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams and executive officers for your various reports. Can we now turn to item 9 on tonight's agenda, and that is officer reports for determination. 9.1.1 is Audit and Risk Committee meeting minutes of 17 July and annual assessment. Ms. Bishop.
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of this report is for Council to receive and note the minutes of the Audit and Risk Committee meeting held on the 17th of July 2025 and to table its annual assessment report. So in accordance with Section 54 of the Local Government Act 2020, the Audit and Risk Committee conducted its assessment of its performance against the Audit and Risk Committee Charter, demonstrating satisfactory performance, and that has now been tabled at this meeting. The annual assessment is included in the minutes, as I mentioned in this report. Okay, I'm just going to adjust my microphone. Yeah. Thank you for asking. Can you hear me now? Is that okay? How's that? Speak later. Through you, Chair, may I just repeat that introduction?
Sure.
Thank you. So the purpose of this report is for Council to receive and note the minutes of the Audit and Risk Committee held on the 17th of July 2025 and to table its annual assessment report. In accordance with Section 54 of the Local Government Act 2020, the Audit and Risk Committee conducts an assessment of its performance against the Audit and Risk Committee Charter, demonstrating its satisfactory performance, and that has now been tabled at this meeting. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Bishop. I'm happy to move that Council, number 1, receive and note the minutes of the Audit and Risk Committee meeting held on 17 July 2025, included as attachment 1. And number 2, receive and note the Audit and Risk Committee annual assessment prepared in accordance with Section 54, subsection 4 of the Local Government Act 2020, included within attachment 1. Is there a seconder for that motion?
Yes, I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Administrator Benedika. Just very quickly, it is an important governance and accountability mechanism for the Audit and Risk Committee to provide not only the minutes of its meetings, but also importantly its annual assessment. And this report does acquit both those obligations. It is important to understand the Audit and Risk Committee has 5 independent members, is chaired independently, and is a really important mechanism for us to demonstrate good governance, but also demonstrate a strategic risk approach to all our operations. And this report certainly accomplishes that. As seconder of the motion, do you wish to speak?
No, thank you.
If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? The motion is carried. Item 9.1.2 is the Audit and Risk Committee Charter Review. Again, Ms Bishop.
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of this report is for Council to endorse the revised Audit and Risk Committee Charter prepared in accordance with Section 54 of the Local Government Act 2020. The Audit and Risk Committee Charter was last adopted by Council on the 24th of July 2024 and is required to be reviewed every 2 years in accordance with its Charter annual work program. So this mid-cycle review has been included with some of the following amendments. It's included the term of the chairperson, removal of the clause regarding committee tenure. It's been enhanced to require external independent members to provide 3 months' notice of their intention to reapply for a second term and may be reappointed by council resolution without undertaking a public process. We've also inserted clause regarding requests for information from the committee members, inserted a clause to enhance oversight on specific fraud exposures, and made amendments to the work program. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms Bishop. Is there a mover for this item?
Yes, I'd like to move this item. I'd like to move that Council endorse the revised Audit and Risk Committee Charter as included in Attachment 1, prepared in accordance with Section 54 of the Local Government.
And I'm happy to second that motion. Do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, I do. It is really good governance to continue the reviews. This has been a mid-cycle review, but I think that it's some important amendments that have been made. I also would like to repeat what you've mentioned, Chair, that it's about our external membership, that external membership really aids us to have good scrutiny to help make our processes better, transparent and accountable. The Charter also includes an annual work schedule for the Audit and Risk Committee, and that keeps us on track with what needs to be done, and we can monitor our progress. So I'm very pleased to see this revision and see these changes.
Thank you for that. I'm happy to put the motion. Those in favour? The motion is carried. Item 9.1.3, Audit and Risk Committee Biannual Report, January to June 2025. Ms Bishop again.
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of this report is for Council to receive and note the Audit and Risk Committee Biannual Report for January to June 2026. January to June 2025. In accordance with Section 54(5) of the Local Government Act 2020, the Audit and Risk Committee has prepared a biannual audit and risk report that describes the activities of the Audit and Risk Committee and includes the findings and recommendations. A copy was provided to the CEO and that report has now been tabled at this meeting. The biannual report has been included as Attachment 1 and highlights work undertaken across key compliance areas such as risk management, fraud control, compliance and policy. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms Bishop. I'm happy to move that Council receive and note the Audit and Risk Committee Biannual Report for January to June 2025, prepared in accordance with Section 54, Subsection 5 of the Local Government Act 2020, included as Attachment 1. Is there a seconder for that motion?
Yes, I'll second that motion.
Just very quickly, this again is a very important part of our overall transparency and accountability environment, and that is providing an opportunity for our Audit and Risk Committee to provide a biannual report to the full Council of the broad extent of activities undertaken by the committee over the past 6 months. The report does identify the really extensive involvement that the Audit and Risk Committee is having in that scrutiny and risk management approach for to our operations. Do you wish to speak as seconded to the motion? Okay, if not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? The motion is carried. 9.1.4, the biannual report to the Minister for Local Government. Ms Bishop.
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of this report is to present the biannual report to the Minister for Local Government that provides an update on the achievements and activities of the Moira Shire Council for the period 1st of Jan to 30th of June 2025. Some of the highlights and key achievements and activities within the report period include the development and endorsement of the suite of integrated planning strategies at the June Council meeting, the formal endorsement of the customer experience strategy in January, the standout success of Council's first community panel initiative, playing an instrumental role in shaping both the Moira 2045 community vision and council plan, the establishment of the new Moira Youth Council, the graduation of the 2025 Moira Shire Council Community Leadership Program participants in May, the Moira Jobs and Career Expo held in June, and the Moira Shire Achievers Award recognising the stars of Moira who help drive positive change in our community. The biannual report also provides an update on the progress made towards achieving the recommendations of the Commission of Inquiry and the priorities identified in the 2024 Ministerial Statement of Expectations. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms Bishop. I'm happy to move that Council note the biannual report to the Minister for Local Government for the period 1 January to 30 June 2025 and as presented in Attachment 1. Is there a seconder for that motion?
Yes, I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Administrator Benedika. Just very quickly, Ms Bishop has provided a very good overview of the content of the biannual report to the Minister for Local Government, and so I won't repeat that. As I said it in my opening address this evening, we had the opportunity to present the biannual report in person to the Minister for Local Government last week and to talk through in some more detail some of the very significant achievements and progress that has been made over this last 6-month period. Do you wish to speak as seconder to the motion?
Yes, just to add that this report was presented to the Minister and we spoke through the report. It was gratifying to be able to tell him the progress that has been made, and I would particularly like to acknowledge and thank the staff for everything that has gone on behind the scenes to create these outcomes that we're seeing. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Administrator Benedika. With that, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? The motion is carried. Item 9.1.5 on tonight's agenda is the appointment and authorisation of council officers under the Planning Environment Act 1987. Is there a motion for this item?
Yes, I'd like to move this recommendation. I'd like to move that Council, in the exercise of the powers conferred by Section 147, subsection 4 of the Planning and Environment Act 1987, resolve that 1. The members of Council staff referred to in the instrument of appointment and authorisation, as shown in Attachment 1, be appointed and authorised as set out in the instrument. 2. Authorise the Council Chief Executive Officer to affix the instrument with the common seal of Council. 3. The instrument come into force immediately following the seal being affixed to the instrument and remains in force until Council determines to vary or revoke it. 4. Upon the instrument coming into force, the instrument of appointment and authorisation to members of Council staff as made by Council on 30th June 2025 is revoked.
Thank you, Administrator Benedika. I'm happy to second that motion. Do you wish to speak to the motion?
This is a fairly routine process, but it needs to occur frequently as new people are appointed to their positions, because it's actually the people named in the instrument of appointment that's important. That's why we see this coming to Council on a frequent basis. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? The motion is carried. Item 9.1.6, the Environmental Upgrade Agreements Quarterly Report for June 2025. Ms Bishop.
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of this report is for Council to note the Quarterly Environmental Upgrade Agreements Quarterly Statement, which has been prepared in accordance with Section 181G of the Local Government Act 1989. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Bishop. I'm happy to move that Council note the Environmental Upgrade Agreement's quarterly statement, which has been prepared in accordance with Section 181, subsection G of the Local Government Act 1989. Is there a seconder for that motion?
Yes, I'll second that motion.
This matter is largely a procedural matter. It is a requirement of the Act that we quarterly report the position of our environmental upgrade agreements, and the report is self-explanatory in that regard. You don't wish to speak, seconder? I'll put the motion. Those in favour? The motion is carried. Item 9.2.1, the draft Municipal Public Health and Wellbeing Plan for 2025 to 2029 community consultation. Mr Williams.
Thank you, Chair. The Municipal Public Health and Wellbeing Plan represents a critical strategic document that will guide our efforts to improve the health and wellbeing outcomes of our community. This very comprehensive draft plan completed by our community development team has been developed in response to legislative requirements under the Victorian Health and Wellbeing Act and the Local Government Act. Our approach in this plan aligns with the statewide priorities while also addressing our own unique and local needs of our communities. We've worked with a great number of partner agencies and community organisations to create this plan in the aim to create lasting and sustainable positive change that benefits all our residents, from our youngest to our most senior community members. We now seek to engage with our community in meaningful consultation to ensure this plan truly reflects local priorities. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr Williams. Is there a motion for this item?
Yes, I'd like to move that Council endorse the draft Municipal Public Health and Wellbeing Plan 2025 to 2029 to commence community consultation for a minimum period of 21 days in accordance with the Council's community engagement policy.
And I'm happy to second that motion. Do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, I'd like to endorse the comments of Mr Williams. This has been an exceptionally well-prepared document. I've mentioned it many times during our briefings and meetings on this report. It's a partnership document. It's stating how we as council will work with our partners to create better health and wellbeing. There's three themes: healthy and empowered community, safe and inclusive community, livable and thriving community. The work that's gone on is, as I've mentioned before, is substantial. But what I would love people to have a look at when they look at this particular plan and make their comments on it is that we have some statistics in our shire that makes for not very good reading, and that it really focuses on what can we do to improve public health and wellbeing. The family violence incidents in our shire are higher than state average, and our transport and crash injury figures are also substantially higher than state average. These problems cannot be solved by one agency alone. We need to work in partnership, and we need to work together with community. And the final thing I'd like to say is I'd really like to recognise the Youth Council input to this plan. It gave us the perspective of young people and helped us strengthen some of the mental health initiatives in here. Thank you.
Thank you, Administrator Benendika. Just to add, this is very much about a partnership document. Health and wellbeing across the broader community doesn't just sit with council. It does rely very much on collaboration and partnerships. And I'm really looking forward to receiving the community's feedback on the draft plan. It's one of our most significant strategic documents, and we really encourage the community to have a view on it. With that, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? The motion is carried. Item 9.2.2, the Community Leadership Program, Round 3 for 2025. Mr Williams.
Thank you, Chair. We're very pleased to present the third round of our Community Leadership Program, an initiative that continues to strengthen our community's capacity for local leadership and civic engagement. This program represents our ongoing commitment to developing emerging leaders who are passionate about making positive contributions to their communities. It's our third program now, and we've already seen a number of our graduates very active in leadership roles in the community, which has been fantastic to see. The applicants recommended for endorsement in this report represent diverse communities from across our shire, bringing together unique experiences and perspectives that will no doubt strengthen the program and our community leadership journey. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr Williams. Is there a motion for this item?
Yes, I'd like to move that Council endorse the following applicants as successful participants of round 3 of the 2025 Moira Shire Community Leadership Program. Benjamin Brooks, Karen Maloney, C. Khan During, Fee Nethercott, Anthea Buckley, Julie Silveski, Madison McDiarmid, Sandra Pennington, Afshin Asif, Island Letson, Danny Winray, Lachlan Andrew, Renata Buckmaster, Karambat Kaur, and Rebecca Greer.
And I'm happy to second that motion. Do you wish to speak to the motion?
This community leadership program is a foundational community leadership program. The fact that we've been able to offer 3 rounds of the community leadership program in an 18-month period is really wonderful. I heartily have heard such great feedback from previous participants, and I look at the cross-pollination of those participants with others. I know that these people will really enjoy their time, and we look forward to their continuing and further contribution to Moira Shire.
Thank you, Administrator Benedicta. As seconder of the motion, I'd just like to reinforce that the Community Leadership Program is an initiative of Council very specifically targeted at building leadership at all levels of the community. And community strengths come from community leadership. And this is very deliberately about providing opportunities through round number 3 for a range of people with various backgrounds and experiences from across the municipality to overall add to the leadership strength of our various communities. So very happy to be supporting this one. With that, I'll put the motion. Those in favour, the motion is carried. We now go to item 9.3.1 on tonight's agenda, and that is the draft Moira Shire Road Safety Strategy and Action Plan for 2025 to 2030. Ms Gadd.
Thank you, Chair. The draft Road Safety Strategy and Action Plan provides information and actions to address the Shire's level of road accidents. It proposes targeted infrastructure improvements and educational campaigns to reduce fatalities and serious injuries. Developed with TAC funding and community input, the strategy proposes an annual council investment of $220,000 and $1.3 million in external funding for road safety initiatives. And the recommendation is as presented.
Thank you, Ms Gadd. I'm happy to move that Council endorse the draft Moira Shire Road Safety Strategy and Action Plan 2025 to 2030 to commence community consultation in accordance with Council's community engagement policy for a period of 35 days. Is there a seconder for that motion?
Yes, I will second that motion.
Thank you, Administrator. This report is a very comprehensive report, and it does outline some of the significant challenges and opportunities that face Moira Shire to improve road safety. Moira has a higher than average road trauma rate compared to other equivalent councils across the state. We have some 3,600 kilometres of roads that are managed by council. Between 2017 and 2021, there were 11 fatalities and 68 serious injuries across the Moira Shire. Alarmingly, in the period 2022 to 23, we saw a further 18 fatalities across the Shire. This has a very significant emotional and financial impact on our communities, and those emotional impacts are long-lasting. We have undertaken an initial round of community consultation to seek the community's feedback and to get a sense of where the community thinks priorities should be placed to improve our road safety performance. There are several opportunities that are outlined in this draft road safety strategy and action plan, and we now seek the feedback of the community. Have we got the priorities right? Is the emphasis being placed in the right areas? We are really serious about improving road safety, reducing the trauma for our communities that are experienced with every fatality and serious injury that is incurred. We're making this available to the community for an extended period of time. So we're opening it up for some 35 days. And again, that's a demonstration of the significance and the importance of engaging the community to make sure that when we finally adopt this road safety strategy, that it's one that reflects the priorities and the importance placed by our communities. Administrator Benedico, do you wish to speak as seconder to the motion?
I'd like to back up that this is a really important document. It's important for our community's health and well-being. It's important for all of us, and it's important to reduce that road trauma. As mentioned, the proportion of Shire funds versus funds that we will need to leverage from other forms of government is quite significantly different. So when we get the feedback from community and adopt this as a draft, as a proper strategy and action plan, it will become a key part of our advocacy documents. We need this evidence. We need this sort of thinking to be able to get the right money in to get our roads repaired and safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Administrator. With that, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? The motion is carried. Item 9.3.2 is the draft lease and licence policy. Ms Gadd.
Thank you, Chair. The new draft lease and licence policy establishes a transparent and consistent framework for lease and licensing of council-owned land and buildings. It categorises tenants into different levels and clarifies responsibilities and legislative requirements surrounding these agreements. The policy will provide clear guidance to staff and community to ensure fair access and management of council's assets, and community engagement is proposed to be undertaken for 21 days to ensure the policy reflects local needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Gadd. I'm happy to move that Council endorse the draft lease and licence policy as included in Attachment 1 for the purpose of community engagement for a minimum period of 21 days in accordance with Council's community engagement policy. Is there a seconder for that motion?
Yes, I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Administrator. This policy does seek to fill a gap that we have in our governance arrangements that are aimed at ensuring a consistent and transparent approach to how we allocate the use and tenure of our various buildings under our control. So this policy will seek to improve the fairness and equity, to be transparent with users and the broader community as to how the tenure arrangements for various types of council buildings and properties will be undertaken. It provides clarity for our tenants about the length of tenure for their occupancy. It sets out very clearly the maintenance arrangements, which are in some instances shared, in some instances they are the sole responsibility of the tenants, and also deals with asset renewal responsibilities as well. So this will, for the first time, set out a very clear and transparent approach and a consistent approach as to how our various buildings and properties under council's control are utilised by the community. Do you wish to speak as seconder to the motion?
Yes, I do. Again, because this is a significant document to help us tidy up and be consistent and be transparent about our agreements and relationships. I would particularly invite community feedback and comment. If you're in a not-for-profit community group, service organisation, commercial tenant, sport and recreation club, please have a look at this policy, see how it affects you and give us the feedback. That would be really good. Thank you.
Thank you, Administrator. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? The motion is carried. Item 9.3.3 is the 2026 to 27 FIIBS potential sites for submission. Ms Gadd.
Thank you, Chair. This report proposes 2 funding submissions for priority road safety intersection safety projects, Old Wilby Road and Channel Road, and Carmichael's Road and Boomanumana Road. It is proposed to apply for funding under the Federal Infrastructure Investment Black Spot Fund for both projects, with a combined project cost of $1.35 million. These projects will be fully grant funded if the applications are successful. It also provides for a joint safety project with Greater Shepparton Council for Katandra Main Road. It's recommended for future funding rounds. All of these projects target known crash hotspots and aim to reduce road trauma in line with the draft road safety strategy and action plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Gadd. I'm happy to move that Council Number 1 endorse development of federal infrastructure investment black spot program submissions for the following locations. Firstly, the Old Woolby Road, Channel Road intersection in Yarrawonga. And secondly, the Carmichaels Road, Boomanumana Road intersection in Bundalong. And number 2, formally approach Greater Shepparton City Council about developing a joint road safety project for funding under the next round of federal infrastructure investment black spot program for the Katandra Main Road. And number 3, authorise the CEO or delegate to complete the FIIBS submissions by 14 September 2025. Is there a seconder for this motion?
Yes, I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Administrator Benedica. This is an important opportunity that Council does need to pursue, and that is an opportunity to attract external full funding into addressing road safety improvements across the Moira Shire. The two projects that have been identified are high-risk intersection with high crash histories. And I know that we have received very regular feedback about both these intersections and the real need to upgrade the safety at both these locations. It's also important that we do pursue the Katandra Main Road safety improvement opportunities, and we understand that we do need to work in partnership with Greater Shepparton City Council, and the resolution tonight gives authority to our officers to commence really meaningful dialogue with Greater Shepparton to make sure that when the next round of funding under this black spot program becomes available, that we're ready to move forward with an application for the Katandra Main Road. Do you wish to speak as seconder to the motion?
Yes, I do. This just outlines the importance of the item 2 items ago, which was the draft road safety strategy and action plan. It's at that level that we put in these priorities, and then the additional work gets done so that we've got things that are grant ready. It takes an enormous amount of work to get things to be grant ready to leverage the funding that the chair has just spoken about. I would definitely recommend this for a positive outcome.
Thank you, Administrator. With that, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? The motion is carried. Item 9.3.4 is the draft Cobram East Catchment Stormwater Management Strategy. Ms Gadd.
Thank you, Chair. So the draft Cobram East Catchment Stormwater Management Strategy supports the Cobram Development Plan by guiding stormwater management for new residential growth in the Cobram East Catchment. The strategy proposes $7.5 million worth of investment in a shared central basin and wetland system, and the plan includes a shared infrastructure funding model amongst developers, with council delivering the works upfront and recouping the costs as development occurs. Consultation will be undertaken for 35 days as per the requirements of the Water Act. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms Gadd. Is there a motion for this item?
Yes, I'd like to move that Council endorse the draft Cobram East Stormwater Drainage Strategy as included in Attachment 1 for the purposes of community engagement for a minimum period of 35 days in accordance with the Water Act 1989 and Council's community engagement policy.
And I'm happy to second that motion. Do you wish to speak to the motion?
As mentioned by Ms Gadd, this is supporting new residential growth, and it's predominantly areas that were predominantly agriculture and fruit orchards. There's multiple land ownership. This is about shared infrastructure, but it's making sure that we've got the right plan to guide that shared infrastructure and recoup with developers the costs of some of that infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't wish to speak as seconder of the motion. I think it's self-explanatory. I look forward to the to community feedback. With that, I'll put the motion. Those in favour, the motion is carried. Item 9.3.5, the draft Cobram South Growth Area Drainage Strategy 2025. Is there a motion for this item? Sorry, got ahead of myself. Ms. Gadd, could you please present this item?
Thank you, Chair. This report presents the updated drainage strategy for the Cobram South growth area. The last one was done in 1989. We need to update this to accommodate urban expansion in the Cobram South growth area. It addresses increased runoff and flood risk due to high density development. Key recommendations include expansion of existing retention basins, upgrading of pumps and pipes, and we have put in earlier this year a $4.8 million grant application through the Disaster Resilience Fund, and we are waiting to see whether that is successful. It is proposed that consultation on this strategy is for 35 days as per the Water Act. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gadd. Now, is there a motion for this item?
There is. I'd like to move that Council endorse the draft Cobram South Growth Area Drainage Strategy as included in Attachment 3 for the purposes of community engagement for a minimum period of 35 days in accordance with the Water Act 1989 and Council's community engagement policy.
I'm happy to second that motion. Do you wish to speak to the motion?
In addition to the comments made by Ms. Gadd, I would like to say that this very clearly lines up with our expectations that we've put forward and endorsed in our council plan. And they are the three particular areas that we have well-service connected communities, and that as part of that, we're preparing for mitigation of flash flooding. We're really looking at what happens with climate change and being prepared for that. The second one is that it's about enhanced natural environments and making sure that we can really investigate things like reuse of water and making sure that there's good stormwater collection. And the third one is that it's about well-planned and maintained spaces and places and meeting the needs of growing communities. So as the pressure on growth has come into this area, it's the time that we really need to go back and make sure that this drainage strategy is right. So thank you.
Thank you, Administrator Benedika. With that, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? The motion is carried. Item 9.3.6 on tonight's agenda is the draft Yarrawonga Aerodrome Master Plan. Ms. Gadd.
Thank you, Chair. The draft Yarrawonga Aerodrome Master Plan outlines a staged vision for the Yarrawonga Aerodrome. The aerodrome is currently fit for purpose and operations are funded from the General Council revenue. The master plan proposes over $7 million in discretionary capital upgrades intended to enhance the aviation facilities and support future growth. These upgrades would require external grants to support that delivery. The report asks that we proceed to community consultation and to direct stakeholder engagement on the draft master plan, along with future governance options and potential income generating opportunities to improve the aerodrome's financial sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Gadd. I'm happy to move that Council, number one, endorse the draft Yarrawonga Aerodrome Master Plan as included in Attachment 1 for the purposes of community engagement for a minimum period of 21 days in accordance with Council's community engagement policy. Secondly, proceed with stakeholder engagement to seek feedback on potential future governance arrangements and user contributions to contribute to the ongoing viability of the aerodrome operations. Is there a seconder for that motion?
Yes, I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Administrator. This is a really important piece of strategic work coming before the Council this evening. The Yarrawonga Aerodrome is a really important local asset with considerable interest from many stakeholders. It not only serves as an aviation facility, but it also provides an economic base for a number of smaller industries which are also attached to the aerodrome. It is important that we have a very clear vision for the future direction of the aerodrome. It is an important asset, and it is befitting from a governance perspective that we have a very clear view of the future directions of this facility. The draft master plan, which has been put together and is presented to us this evening, does include a whole range of options for the ownership of the aerodrome facility, its use, its governance arrangements, and of course, future funding opportunities as well. It's really important that we engage the community, particularly the aviation community in the local area, to have a view on the master plan and to provide their feedback. There are, as I said in my introduction, there's many interests in the aerodrome. There's many different stakeholders with different perspectives, and it's important that we hear those perspectives before we turn our mind to the final approval of the master plan. The master plan will be now made available, and again, we encourage the community to get involved and provide their feedback on this important strategic document. Do you wish to speak as seconder to the motion, Administrator Benedico?
Only very briefly, I think it's important to note, and I heard you say it, Ms. Gadd, that the facility is currently fit for purpose, and proposed investment that is stated in here is discretionary. It's again one of those documents where we need to know what it's going to cost, how can we get the additional income into council, and how can we manage in a sound way for the future. So again, I commend this document to people to give us their feedback on it.
Thank you, Administrator. With that, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? The motion is carried. Item 9.3.7 C006/23, maintenance grading for the 2025-26 program. Ms. Gadd.
Thank you, Chair. The unsealed road maintenance grading program is an important priority for Council to maintain the safety and functionality of the Shire's road network. Unsealed roads represent about 70% of Council's managed road network. This report presents the proposed contract arrangements to deliver the annual unsealed road grading programs using a pre-qualified panel of contractors. A budget of $2.75 million is allocated in the 25-26 capital budget for these works. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Gadd. Is there a motion for this item?
There is. I'd like to move that Council, 1, authorise the Chief Executive Officer to approve purchase orders to the following maximum values for each supplier for the purpose of fulfilling the 2025-26 road maintenance grading program in accordance with the schedule of rates outlined in the attached confidential report. Lawrence Brothers Quarries, up to $621,000, excluding GST. Olex Civil, up to $632,000, excluding GST. NGH Earth Moving, up to $812,000, excluding GST. Precision Grading, up to $597,000, excluding GST. And 2, note that the anticipated expenditure for the 2025-26 program is approximately $1.88 million, excluding GST, for grading unsealed roads, and approximately $870,000 ex-GST for grading unsealed shoulders. All payments will be made in accordance with the schedule of rates outlined in the attached confidential report.
And I'm happy to second that motion. Do you wish to speak to the motion?
Very briefly, this is really a set contract. It's a panel of contract providers. The authority here is to the CEO to incur expenditure greater than $500,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Administrator. With that, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? The motion is carried. Item 9.3.8, the Draft Road Management Plan version 9. Ms. Gadd.
Thank you, Chair. This report presents the updated road management plan, which is a requirement under the Road Management Act 2004 and the Local Government Act. The plan details agreed service and asset intervention levels for Council's road assets. This balances asset maintenance with financial responsibility and is proposed to be open for public consultation for a minimum of 21 days. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gadd. I'm happy to move that Council endorse the Road Management Plan version 9 as included in Attachment 1 for the purposes of community engagement for a minimum period of 21 days in accordance with Council's community engagement policy. Is there a seconder for that motion?
Yes, I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Administrator. Just very quickly, as it says in the report, this is version 9 of our road management plan. So this is a requirement that councils have to ensure we have a plan which clearly sets out how we will approach the management of our road and road-related infrastructure. We're responsible for more than 3,700 kilometres of roads, and that includes bridges, culverts, signs, car parks and drainage. And this plan really sets out how we will approach the management from inspection intervals to intervention levels and response time. So I do note there's little change from our existing management arrangements, but it is good practice, good governance, that we undertake this regular review of the draft management plan. Do you wish to speak as seconder to the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? The motion is carried. Item 9.3.9 is the Capital Budget 2024-25 carry forward request. Is there a mover for this item? Sorry, Ms. Gadd, would you like to introduce this item?
Thank you, Chair. This report presents a summary of carry forward budget for the capital works projects, including a request to carry forward 9.2 million in unspent capital project funds from the 24-25 year to the 25-26 year to ensure the delivery of these projects. It also includes a budget request for an additional $80,000 to support taxiway widening at the Yarrawonga Aerodrome. The carry forward amounts are a result of project timing, grant funding agreements and multi-year projects. Will have limited impact on the long-term financial plan commitments of Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gadd. Is there a mover for this matter?
I'd like to move that Council adopt the 2024-25 carry forward budget allocations as detailed in Attachment 1, approve $80,000 of additional budget allocation for the Yarrawonga Aerodrome taxiway widening project. Note that the associated budget adjustments, including the detailed breakdown of project allocations, will be formally incorporated into the quarter one budget revision process.
And I'm happy to second that motion. Do you wish to speak to the motion?
I think Ms. Gadd has outlined the reasons that we need to have these carry forwards. I will also make note that there is a lot of work going on in Council now to really bring together our whole planning and design framework so that we in the future will see fewer of these. Obviously, when they're multi-year projects, we're going to see carry forwards, but getting our expenditure in the time that it was allocated is one of the aims that we have. I also note that in every budget proposal or every proposal that comes before us, we get a long-term financial plan implications, and we looked at that long-term financial plan to make sure that we're not running off the rails. So that's been provided to us as we considered this report earlier. Thank you.
Thank you, Administrator Benedika. With that, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? The motion is carried. Item 9.4.1 is the draft domestic animal management plan for 2026 to 2029. Mr. Sword.
Thank you, Chair. Administrator. The draft domestic animal management plan aims to meet our statutory obligation under the Domestic Animals Act 1994, which is to prepare and adopt a new plan every 4 years. A final plan is required to be adopted by December 2025. The draft plan supports Council's vision for healthy, safe and connected communities. It sets out comprehensive strategies to promote responsible pet ownership, reduce animal-related risks and improve delivery of related services. We look forward to receiving community feedback, which will shape the final version. It is recommended that the plan be put out for community consultation for a minimum period of 21 days. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sword. I'm happy to move that Council endorse the draft Domestic Animal Management Plan 2026 to 2029 as included in Attachment 1 for the purposes of community engagement for a minimum period of 21 days in accordance with Council's community engagement policy. Is there a seconder for this item?
Yes, I will second the item.
Thank you, Administrator. This report really does set out the importance of companion animals within our communities, and importantly, it sets out that responsible pet ownership is a really important aspect to community well-being. We have some 4,300 registered dogs, 1,200 registered cats across the municipality, and that is a demonstration of the importance of companion animals to our communities. It is interesting, though, in terms of the research and the engagement that's been undertaken to date, that nuisance animals are the main concerns of our community. It's also worth highlighting that registrations are down, but complaints are up. And this plan is a plan which really sets out to tackle a number of initiatives to really overall further pursue responsible pet ownership. We are looking through proposed new initiatives in this draft plan to do things such as further subsidising desexing schemes, the potential for offering free first registrations, promoting further education about responsible pet ownership, and importantly, working further and developing further partnerships with animal adoption agencies to manage animals that might end up in our care through the pound system. This is an important document and it's one that is going out for community engagement, and we really do look forward to receiving the community's feedback on this important plan before we turn our mind to finalising the plan before the end of the calendar year. Do you wish to speak as seconder of the motion? No, if not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? The motion is carried. Now, item 9.4.2 is the draft Numurkah, Kattunga and Strathmerton Growth Corridor Plan. Mr. Sword.
Thank you, Chair. The draft Numurkah, Kattunga and Strathmerton Growth Corridor Plan aims to guide sustainable economic and employment growth across those towns. It leveraged $131,000 in funding from the Victorian Planning Authority and aligns with Council's prosperity pillar for strong, diversified regional economy. The plan responds to challenges like housing shortages, labour gaps and water entitlement changes. Key priorities include facilitating growth-enabling infrastructure, supporting new dwellings, retail and industrial spaces and dedicated worker housing. Extensive consultation shaped the draft plan, and the plan emphasises the unique roles of each town. The draft plan is recommended for community consultation for a minimum period of 6 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sword. Is there a mover for this item?
Yes, I'd like to move that Council endorse the draft Numurkah, Kattunga and Strathmerton Growth Corridor Strategy as included in Attachment 1 for the purposes of community engagement for a minimum period of 6 weeks in accordance with Council's community engagement policy.
And I'm happy to second that motion. Do you wish to speak as the mover of the motion?
I would like to say that there has been previous consultation as outlined by Mr. Sword. That previous consultation was on the background report and the discussion paper. Interestingly to note that in the background report and discussion paper, people in the townships of Numurkah, Kattunga and Strathmerton didn't necessarily see themselves as a corridor. So whilst that term has been used throughout the strategy, it very much focuses on each of those townships, Numurkah, Kattunga and Strathmerton, and it's looking at the growth and the impediments to growth and how we might overcome those. I think this is a far-sighted document and I would really recommend it for people to make a comment.
Thank you, Administrator. I concur with those comments. With that, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? The motion is carried. Item 9.4.3, changes to curbside waste collection progress report. Mr. Sword.
Thank you, Chair. Switching landfill collection to fortnightly and organics to weekly has significantly improved waste diversion. Organic waste collection increased by 561 tonnes, 36.5%, while landfill waste dropped by 478 tonnes, 21.9% over the first 6 months of implementation. Contamination rates remain very low in the organics collection. Since its December 2024 launch, the glass purple lid bin has collected 272 tonnes. Council received 369,000 in Victorian government funding to support the implementation of the glass bin. An increased demand for kitchen caddies and compostable bags suggests growing community participation in food waste separation. Moira's current diversion rate stands at 66%, approaching the Victorian interim 2025 target of 72%. We look forward to seeing the full year results. We've undertaken some recent audits and collected waste and will use this information to help inform the next education campaign to help push us towards the state and federal targets of 80% by 2030. Finally, I'd like to thank the community who have responded and adapted extremely well to the changes made in February this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sword. I'm happy to move that Council note the update on curbside waste figures since the changes to curbside collection frequency in February 2025 and the resale shed figures since the opening of the sites in August 2024. Is there a seconder for that motion?
Yes, I will second that motion.
Thank you, Administrator. This report really provides an update report on our overall objective that Council has to reduce the amount of waste going to landfill. Reducing waste going to landfill not only is good for the environment, but it is also good financially for our community. Every tonne of waste that goes to landfill carries a substantial cost which our community needs to manage and absorb. Every tonne of waste that's reduced from landfill is an obvious saving, financial saving for our community. It is really heartening to see that the extent of waste that's been diverted away from landfill as a result of the changes that were made back in February has seen some 480 tonnes of waste be avoided going into the landfill hole. We've seen a 36% increase or 560 tonnes of extra green waste diverted away from landfill. That green waste is reused, and so not only are we saving the environment and saving the cost of depositing that green waste into landfill, which traditionally that would have occurred, we're now actually turning that into a reusable product as well. So I also want to congratulate the community on the way in which the new arrangements have been adapted. It has made a real and direct impact both to the environment but also financially beneficial to our community as well. Administrator Benedica, did you wish to speak as seconder to the motion?
Oh, I'd like to endorse those comments, but also to point out one of the interesting things I found in this report was the waste app. So we have a Moira Waste Info app, and the number of downloads has been skyrocketing in this year. The app allows people to work out when their bin days are and their collections are, to report bins that are missed, damaged bins, for any general inquiries about waste. But it also has an A to Z guide of waste disposal, and it really helps in making those decisions about which bin to use at which time. Thank you.
Thank you, Administrator. With that, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? The motion is carried. I now move to item 10 on tonight's agenda, and that is officer reports for information. I understand there's no further reports for information, Mr. CEO.
Through the chair, there's no matters for items 10, 11, 12, 13 or 14 on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. That is noted. Can we then move to item 15 on tonight's agenda, and that is public question time. We have a question tonight from Jan Margaret. Jan, are you with us tonight? Yes. Do you wish to come forward and read your question, Jan? So Jen, if you could read your question and 2 minutes to speak to your question. Jan, you might just pull that microphone down just a fraction. Yeah, just pull the head of it down. Great.
Okay. My question is the Moira Shire Council ruled by the ICLEI? Okay. Say it again. Good. Is the Moira Shire Council ruled by ICLEI, which is the International Council for Local Environmental Initiatives?
Okay, thanks, Jan. I'll get the CEO to respond to that question.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Jan, for the question. I can confirm that no, Moira Shire Council is not ruled by, nor is it a member of the International Council for Local Environmental Initiatives.
Okay.
Well, I have read on the internet that all councils are, but okay, I'll have to take that as correct. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Jan.
I did want to talk on my question from last month, which I didn't get a chance to get here.
Well, Jan, that question was dealt with last month. It's not listed as part of hasn't been submitted for questions for tonight.
I understand that, but
Can I request you, if you've got a follow-up question to it, you perhaps might submit it for next month's meeting. We can deal with it then.
I will.
Yep. Thank you, Jan. We have a question from Sharon Rowland.
So bad injured with the jabs that he's had open heart surgery and losing blood, so he's back in hospital again. So she couldn't come tonight. But you can either read out her question or transfer it to me.
I think our governance rules provide for this. If the questioner is not available, the CEO will read the question. So I'll ask the CEO to read Sharon's question. Mr. CEO.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Sharon, for the question. The question is, I have seen that on the 28th of July 2025, the Moira Shire Council were in front of the Council Watch Victoria and other councils accused of fraud, corruption and controlling behaviour. Why and what was the outcome?
So, Mr. CEO, would you like to respond to that question?
Yes, just in response to that question, and as I alluded to in my CEO update at the start of the meeting, on the 28th of July, Council voluntarily participated in a parliamentary inquiry into fraud and corruption in local government conducted by the Public Accounts and Estimates Committee. Councils contributed to this inquiry with a view to strengthening arrangements for the sector and support to implement better and more comprehensive control structures. Council was not accused of any fraudulent behaviour and participated in this inquiry along with a number of other Victorian councils to enhance transparency in local government decision making and to unlock resourcing, we hope, to support councils where we need it most. But just to be clear, Moira Shire Council was not accused of anything and it was a voluntary participation in the inquiry.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. We have a question tonight from Sally Hutchinson. Sally's with us. Sally, would you like to come forward and read your question and 2 minutes to speak to your question?
Hi. I've read that you have an ABN and provide services for money, that you're a trading company. So what happens if the state government establishes government organisations with ABNs?
Do you wish to speak to that, Sally, or is that straightforward?
I've got a thing here that says that councils are corporations, which you've already said that you're a corporation. In 2015, the High Court ruled in 2015 that if you have an ABN and provide services for money, you're a trading company. If a state government establishes a government organisation with an ABN, that entity is automatically regarded as a private corporation and it therefore cannot be government. And as such, companies require a written contract with full disclosures or consent to do business with anyone.
Okay, thanks, Sally. Mr. CEO.
Thank you, Sally, for the question. I think we've had similar questions in the past around council's status and its ABN. Just in relation to the ABN itself, having an ABN or an Australian business number means that an organisation is registered with the Australian Business Register to carry on an enterprise in Australia. It doesn't automatically make the entity a trading company, to our understanding. A trading company is generally a company registered with ASIC under the Corporations Act 2001 that actively carries on a business. Council is constituted as a local government entity under the Local Government Act of Victoria, not under the Corporations Act 2001. ABNs are used by state government departments and local government councils for administrative purposes, and it's largely to do with GST, so receiving GST credits and issuing invoices for services. Thank you, Chair.
Most corporations have shareholders, so and there's only meant to be two governments, I believe, state and federal. So you're running as a local government, but as a corporation as well. Is that right?
Through the chair, I don't believe, and by definition, we are specifically not a corporation, and the Local Government Act specifically excludes councils from the definition of a corporation. So we're incorporated by local government, by the Victorian government under the Local Government Act for the purposes of municipal administration of the district.
I believe that you've said earlier that you were a corporation. I believe that happened in Yarrawonga last year.
We would have to take that on notice and double check the records are there, but the Local Government Act specifically excludes councils from the definition of a corporation.
Okay.
We might be an incorporated body in some interpretations, but not specifically as a corporation under the Corporations Act 2001.
Yep, correct. Okay, thanks,
That's
Sally.
a bit tricky, isn't it? Yeah. Okay.
Well,
thank you.
Councils are constituted under the Local Government Act, which is state legislation. So that's where it takes its powers from. Yep.
But it's still a corporation.
Well, you need. We can quote you the specific provisions of the Local Government Act. That might be the cleanest way to do it, Sally, because that's the definition and that is the status of the councils. So we're very happy to share that with you. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I don't believe there's any further questions, Mr. CEO, tonight.
No, that's it. Thank you, Chair.
No, if not, can I thank everyone, thank members of the gallery for joining us for tonight's meeting, and to thank officers for their contributions through reports and presentation of those reports tonight. To those who have joined us live via the stream, thank you again for joining us for tonight's